G'day viewers, how are you? We've made it to the end of another week. Congratulations, time for Totally Fucked Up Friday. Okay, a little bit late, technically not Friday when this is going live. But you know, I thought about it a lot on Friday, so I think that counts. I think between us, we're okay. So, it's a theme I'm going to talk about in this video is protests. Protests that happened this week. And they take quite different forms from different people for different reasons, different outcomes. First up, I want to do a big 2 thumbs up to the kids who were involved in the school strike for climate. Right around the major cities in Australia, and I'm sure in regional areas as well, a bunch of kids walked out of school to do a protest about inaction on climate change. You know, for wacky and crazy reasons like it's their future that's being mortgaged by these pricks who know what they're doing. And there were huge crowds. Martin Place in Sydney, in the middle of Melbourne, huge number of kids, and double bonus that showed that, you know, they're not going to be passive, they're going to be active and try and get change for their future, but they also managed to make the federal government look like dickheads as well. Now, to be fair, the federal government is pretty much doing that on their own. Their disastrous showing in recent elections, from the Wentworth by-election that happened when deposed Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull resigned, to the Victorian state election, basically voters have said really clearly, we're sick of your bullshit. And behind closed doors, they all know. They said, look, they are being open and saying people see us as misogynist, homophobic, the climate change denial. They're sick of it. The scare campaign and the bigotry isn't working. You're alienating not just the overwhelming majority of people who don't necessarily traditionally vote Liberal, but a huge chunk of traditional conservative voters are going, yeah, this bullshit of going to the extreme right, you know, there are ideologies that go with conservative political parties that I'm not on board with. Economic policy, workplace policy, and those types of things. I have different views. I'm very pro-union. Conservative people tend to be pro-independent business and big business. You know, people have different views of the world. But when the Conservative Party starts to simply pander to the extreme reactionary right and condones and actively spreads bigoted lies, well, progressively, people tend to wake up and go, that's all kind of bullshit, and why do you keep saying that? That's not what it's meant to be about. So they've been given wake-up calls like, stop being assholes, basically. So, as during the week, as steam gathered, it's like the kids are going to have their strike on Friday. They're going to protest inaction on climate change. Prime Minister Scummo, who is just, you know, going to go down in history as a sad, insignificant failure. But yeah, he's been given the message clearly. Don't be a dick. So what did he do when he was asked, what do you think about the kids going on strike to protest inaction on climate change? He was a dick! I know! That's a surprise, isn't it? He'd been told over and over, stop being a dick, and here's a golden opportunity, and he was a dick. He's going, oh, kids, they shouldn't go out of scale. Look, there's a time and a place for everything, and they should be in school, not out on the street protesting. I mean, what he could have said, except this would actually be throwing out everything they've said policy-wise on energy and the environment, but he could have said, I understand where they're coming from. I want to work with them. But, you know, he would have been lying. So he just shat all over the kids and increased the alienation. But he was far from the worst. And I swear to God, every now and then people say things and it's like, I'm seeing it on my screen, like whether it's, you know, a computer or a phone, and you're reading it and going, I just want to punch my own screen, which is stupid. It's stupid, okay? This is kind of like why I don't watch Q&A on ABC TV. People go, do you watch Q&A? No, because the people on it are such fuckwits that I want to throw things at my own TV, which is a bad idea, so I don't do it. And we had this idiot, Matt Canavan. He's a conservative senator from Queensland, and he's, in charge of the mining, the government policy on mining and whatnot. So he's like, let's dig holes, rip coal out, destroy the fucking environment. Fuck it, we might get a few bucks. Even if we don't, I just want ideologically to fuck everything up. He went on with this ridiculous, demeaning shit of, the only thing kids are gonna get when they protest is practice for standing in a dole queue. Fuck you, you piece of shit. You don't even mean that. You just mean you're against people, kids, adults, anyone protesting shit you don't agree with. This dickhead went to protest rallies protesting marriage equality. This dickhead attends protest rallies. He doesn't mean protest rallies are bad. Protest rallies are never good. He means I don't want you doing things that I don't agree with. Fuck you, you pathetic, hypocritical piece of shit. This is the same guy who called the Adani mining operation in Queensland, he called them little Aussie battlers. The Adani group are Indian billionaires who are going to rip billions of dollars out of Australia, pay no tax, and fuck our environment. And again, it's coal mining, so it's fucking catastrophic for the future. But hey, little Aussie battlers. I mean, seriously. See, I don't want to say things. I'm actually vehemently opposed to violence against politicians, even politicians I agree with. But when someone says shit that's so fucking stupid and so fucking offensive, you start having these sort of waking dreams of throat fucking him with a chainsaw, and it's like, I feel like that's entrapment. It would be wrong to do anything hostile or aggressive. I'm not joking. I'm not... Violence in politics, if it's not about protecting yourself, is bullshit. But I swear to fucking God, some of these people, it's like entrapment. They're saying shit that's so stupid, that's so deliberately done to enrage you. I go, you know, if someone punched you in the face, they'd be in the wrong. But I feel like there's some entrapment going on here. And if you want to know how big a fuckwit this Canavan is, this is a guy who, when it turned out it looked like he'd fucked up his citizenship status, he blamed his mother. These people who are in Parliament, who keep going on about how they're there by merit, when he fucked up something basic, he said it was his mother's fault. This is the sort of garbage we're dealing with. And this is why these kids were doing such a good thing. To show, we're not going to put up with your bullshit. And as is usual protest, there were some spot-on signs. My favourite, like, when the Prime Minister had said there should be, less protesting, someone has a sign that said, well, we'll be less activist if you be less shit, which seems like a fair deal, quite honestly. I don't hold up much hope of this current government being less shit, but that's a negotiation at least. And I mean, people got upset at profanity, like there was straight up signs saying fuck scummo. And it's just like, seriously, you, with your policies, ignoring the overwhelming scientific evidence, are basically destroying these kids' future, and you're worried you said a bad word. I think fucking up the planet is a bit more fucking offensive than someone saying fuck you. Maybe that's just me, You can stick with the witty ones, like signs saying I've seen smarter cabinets in IKEA, but overall, the strike for climate, I don't know what the official name for it was, but it was great just seeing that level of activism in young people. And it's really disturbing seeing the other teenagers. I saw an 11-year-old make a speech. I saw an 11-year-old come across as more intelligent and more insightful than anyone in our fucking federal government. That's both inspiring, these young people are driven and have a goal for the future, and fucking terrifying because the people actually in control are so fucking useless. And just shitting all over these kids is so stupid. They're not learning anything. Like, we have an election in 6 months, and sure, basically none of these kids will be voting in that election. There may have been some 17 to 18-year-olds there, but they were mostly younger. So most of them won't vote in this next election. Half of them will be voting in the one after, and when this mob are standing there shitting all over them, not addressing the issue, where do you think the votes are going in the future? You fucking idiots. I mean, this was a great protest. And I want to segue into a protest that's not so great, not such a great cause, not so well executed, not really any great result coming out of it. But oh my, did I laugh. One of these extreme right-wing fucking pseudo-fascist dickheads on the internet by the name of Loomer, constantly pushing racist bullshit and acting like they're the victim if anyone ever calls them to account for their fuckery. She's just got kicked off Twitter and ha fucking ha. But her response, she's going to make things change. She literally handcuffed herself to the office door of Twitter and stood there with a megaphone saying all the things that were totally unfair about her being thrown off Twitter. And she had the audacity to have the yellow Juden star that the Nazis put on Jewish prisoners in World War II. I believe she's professing that she is Jewish. I don't know anything about her apart from the fact she's a fucking abominable, disgusting piece of shit. So, taking into account she is Jewish, I honestly can't imagine a significant number of Jewish people being A-OK with her comparing being thrown off Twitter for being a bigoted, hateful piece of shit with the Holocaust. I mean, I just think I'm drawing a conclusion of my own here, but I feel somewhat safe in saying a significant majority of Jewish people are going to think she's fucking contemptible and should be ashamed of herself. I don't think she's capable of feeling shame. I think she's missing certain bits of what we regard as normal human function required to have empathy. I don't think she's capable of seeing anything outside of herself, but I think she's pretty fucking awful, quite honestly. And it was so laughable. She chained at the door and the Twitter people said, you can't fucking block the doorway. Yes, I can. Okay. And the cops said, what do you want us to do? And they're just like, fucking whatever. And the cops are like, you're going to get off the door? And she goes, I don't know where the key is. And the cops just went, fine, just fucking stay there. I don't know. If you want us to cut the handcuffs off, call us later. Just fucking whatever. So she's made a complete fucking fool of herself. My favourite bit I saw, because she was getting someone to live stream it for a while, thinking she's making a big statement, and the statement was, Laura Loomer's a fucking idiot. My favourite was shouting at the megaphone as people walk past, this is unfair, and just someone just walking past, just getting shouted at the megaphone, just shut the fuck up, which is my favourite way of dealing with people like that. It's pointless to engage them and debate them. They say that's what they want. They want debate. They want you to engage with them. And then they argue in bad faith, move the goalposts every time you shoot down their ridiculous bigotry, and they waste your fucking time. The only thing worth saying to them, shut the fuck up. And far be it for me to discourage her for doing absolutely pointless protests that make her look like a fucking moron. Personally, I think she should do it more. Just really, really humiliate herself publicly. Make a dickhead of yourself to own the libs. That's a real political movement you could get behind. My favourite is because she was handcuffed to the door. Someone said to her, what if you have to pee? She goes, I'll pee my pants if I have to. Which did lead to a hashtag I saw. Hashtag has Loomer peed herself yet? Seriously, the idea of that being an intelligent and constructive thing to do absolutely does my head in. But I want to round off with another completely different sort of protest, but worked, and I liked it. There'd been talk for a while of fucking right-wing hate-monger pieces of shit coming to Australia again. This time it was supposed to be a joint tour with Gavin McInnes, who founded the sad and pathetic and worthless Proud Boys, a violence-based thug gang on the extreme right, and so-called Tommy Robinson, liar with long criminal history, and they were going to come to Australia. That's not happening now because finally the government officially declined to give Gavin McInnes a visa to come to Australia. He failed the character test. Of course he did. He formed a violent gang that had violence built into its structure to advance extreme right neo-Nazi views. Of course he shouldn't be allowed into the country. I actually don't usually jump onto the don't let them in the country bandwagon. Like when that idiot Stefan Molyneux and Lauren Southern came, it's like, sure, they're worthless, racist filth. Protest their speaking engagements, but I don't think you should stop them coming in the country. They're just fuckwits. But this idiot McInnes is an agent of violence. He's an agent of the extreme right, and he built a gang where violence was built into the rules of the gang. The same with Tommy Robinson. He's got a criminal history. He advocates for extreme hate against groups. He's utter garbage. But he's not coming because he double booked himself. He booked to be somewhere in England at the same time this thing was meant to happen in Australia. And now the organisers, who are the scum of the fucking earth, okay? If you organise something like this, you are filth. You are worthless garbage. I'm not talking about free speech. I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to like these things. I'm just saying if you go to the trouble of organising it, you're contemptible fucking scum. And if you buy tickets to it, you're worthless fucking scum, but you're stupid, and I hope they take your money and don't give it back when they don't deliver. Because they're talking about rescheduling it, obviously without McInnes. I think Tommy Robinson will fail a test as well. But they're saying, oh no, we've got a replacement. Milo Yiannopoulos, you know, the actual has-been of the right-wing hate fringe. They're talking about bringing him back because he came out before and it's like, oh, people loved him. But he's such a fuckwit. He's like fallen out of favour with almost anything. But in their desperation, they're going, oh, we'll get Milo. And of course, Milo's desperate because everyone's ignoring him. So apparently he's said he'll do it. And it's just like, yeah, look, bring him, take people's money, rip them off. I'm fucking sick of these scum. But yeah, anyone who wants to defend Gavin McInnes and Tommy Robinson, you're fucking garbage. You're contemptible scum. You're the lowest of the low. And honestly, I'm glad they're not refunding your tickets because you fucking deserve to be ripped off.